Way, hey! I think we're live. Can
There's
you
an
hear
on-air
us?
button on this.
Well, I don't know. I'm gonna press the button to see if I can. Yes, I can hear us. Awesome.
Hello, everybody.
How is everybody? It's been a couple of months since we last did a live stream.
It's a Roderick. Hello, Roderick. It has been a couple. Has it been a couple of months? I thought it was longer than that.
I'm gonna say a couple of months. I think it was sometime in August, actually.
I have no clue. The passage of time has eluded me.
Welcome. And during all of that faffing, as always, I had fun with the stream beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't this stuff be easy?
Mikey has been fighting all of the stream stuff for the past 10 minutes. And Iscat is singing the song of his people. He waited until we went live and then started sitting in the sink in the bathroom wanting water going. So if you can hear him, that's what he's doing. He does have water. It's downstairs in the kitchen, but he wants that water.
Ah. Well, it wouldn't be a live stream without a meow from the background.
Meow.
I'm very surprised during most of the live streams that we've had that I haven't had to like go, oh, shut up to the kids.
Yep.
Which is good. This is Mikey Fighter Pro.
Yeah. Finish it. So, Mikey, how have you been?
I've been pretty good. I've been very busy. We got a bit of, well, we've actually done an agenda today, which makes a change, right?
Oh, right.
Yes.
Oh, it's bright. It's bright.
He just flashbanged himself. Perfect. So yeah, we got a little bit of an agenda to go through. We're going to do a course launch, which I actually haven't got the link for. So yeah, we'll have to ramble for a little bit while I go and find that. Professional.
Yes. We are especially professional right now. Not only do we not have the course launch, the sales video isn't ready. The course is ready. The course is good. We just don't have the little blurb yet. But this is a game in which you control a bat, and it is called Spooky Bricks instead of Tookie Bricks. You see, and it's a bat and ball game where you will learn things like how to relate physics to a tile map, how to add and remove tile maps depending on what's going on with physics items. How to make modular power-ups so you can add and remove them easily, how to make different levels, and yeah, some fun particle effects. It's very pretty. We were going to show it to you, but technical issues. So it does exist, and Mikey has a link so you can go look at it, but we will save that for the next thing.
Yes. However, I do have a demo of the upcoming new course
that I'm about to start recording called Tookie Kickabout.
You'll never guess what it is.
Yep. And this is a 2-player local multiplayer game. What's the matter, Iscat? And well, do you want to show them? Or
no, not quite yet, because I'm trying to find other stuff. But once again, welcome. Let's go back to the agenda, Jan, because we've slipped off it ever so slightly. First of all,
well, I can't see.
If it's okay with you, I'd like to discuss you, because obviously we've kept people up to date without too much like, Jan, where's Jan? Where's Jan?
Yes, so my health has been doing some interesting things. This is Iscat. He says hi.
Hi, Iscat. I've just flashbanged myself.
Yes,
hi.
There is a course coming. There is a course being launched right now. So we'll circle back to that. But hello, John. There is indeed a course coming. But health update. Okay, so first thing, I now have thyroid medication because on top of all my brain things, I started getting very, very tired all the time, by which I mean I was sleeping 14 to 16 hours a day and still being tired.
Even the cats were worried.
Yeah, and so they've got me on thyroxetine or something, and vitamin D, which has chalk in it for some reason. There goes vitamin D, and this stuff, and there's so much medication. So I'm now a little more functional. And I'm actually awake. In fact, now the problem is sleeping, but I'd much rather have problems sleeping than never being awake ever. So yeah, that's a major update. I've also I'm on a much shorter waiting list to see brain people to get all that fixed.
That's such a relief, right?
Yeah, it's huge. It's taken 2.5 years to get there. But yeah, I've got to check the mail later and see if they've sent me a letter yet. And just pootling along, and I'm still going to Mikey's every week to do recording and prototype and editing.
It's been absolutely wonderful. It's strange how a lot of the world has moved remote, But there is genuinely something special about having people, right? Even like talking like this, it would be so much better if we like packed out an auditorium with all, I don't know, 10 of you. Hi.
I mean, that sounds like a project you could set up next time.
No. That's
so
too
that's
much.
the short thing. The long thing is I'm awaiting treatment for complex post-traumatic stress disorder and chronic depression. I am on all kinds of different medication. They finally found one that doesn't massively wreck my brain, and it makes a difference. Like, it's not what I would call a cure, but it's a holding pattern.
You're not quite like a regular boy again yet, but you're getting there, which is good.
Right. I'm still very much in Pinocchio mode. I'm still waiting to be a real boy, which is how I describe it to the professionals. I have been confusing a lot of professionals, so that's good. The poor nurse didn't know what to make of me. They tried to tell me my cholesterol was slightly high, and there's a 4% chance. So, well, that's pretty good. I haven't even studied yet. What? So there's Spooky Bricks.
Yeah, I've just dropped the link for Spooky Bricks in there for people to come along.
Spooky Bricks is part of the Godot for Everyone series of courses. You could take it individually. If you've already bought the full thing, you get the full thing. And it's 2D breakout style game with a bat, Boris the skull is the ball. The ability to make, we show you how to make several power-ups, the ability to make more power-ups, track lives between levels. The tile map, the most important thing I would say is the adding and removing tile map based on the position of physics items, because tile maps use a coordinate system. Mm-hmm. So this is tile 7, 2, as opposed to the pixel coordinates on the screen. And using that to spawn power-ups, remove bricks, particles, things like that. There's also some very fun particle effects in there, some fancy lighting, and yeah, it's a great little course.
And it's what would you call that? Space transforms, going from the screen space, so the coordinates on the screen, to a grid space coordinates?
There's a tile to map function and a map to tile function, which is what we'll be using. There's a pretty big chance of something being named after me. I would say that's legit. Yeah. Poor Mikey had to drive me to an ultrasound appointment in the middle of nowhere. They'd already given me all the meds and decided what I had. So I don't know, maybe they thought I was pregnant. But like, I tell them I'm having trouble. I'm sleeping too much. I can't wake up. So they say, okay, here's an appointment at 8 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, there's an 8 o'clock in the morning?
Mm-hmm.
So poor Mikey has to turn up. I have to be there without coffee, and he has to put up with me. He's like, well, thank you.
It was a super quick appointment, which was useful.
It was.
And then we went for some food.
It's Pagosh. Hello, Pagosh.
Hello.
So yeah.
And thank you for that, Jan, because I've put it on the site live now, cool. So people can go and grab it. Mm-hmm. Now, if you already have, I know you went over this, but in case people weren't clear, if you've already got the Godot for Everyone bundle, you should automatically have that. If you don't, do reach out. Have had a few issues with the site, which we'll be talking about a bit more later on. But if you've got the bundle, it's already part of that. If you want the bundle, you're going to have to wait for a bit. The bundle won't be going live again for a bit until we've fleshed out the full course.
Mikey's been updating the site, and I've been sick. So between those two things, it was worth waiting before we put the full bundle up, because people were like, where's the rest of it? I'm like, I know. I'm trying to be in hospital. I'm sorry. So trying to keep you guys up to date without making it, oh, woe is me. But yeah, that was the thing. But the nice thing is the prototype for the next one, Tuki Kickabout, which is the first 3D game in this series, is ready. There's one more thing I need to fix, which is when you press escape to open the menu, it pauses the game. Otherwise, you've just got a window in the middle of the game and it's annoying.
Yeah.
But everything else is working quite well. And rather than me showing it to you, I figured it'd be easier for Mikey to show it to you, because then you won't have to deal with all the stupid compression and...
Yeah, I'll probably get a bit wonky if we tried the other way around. So what I want to do is, first of all, make sure that Yang can see what's going on. Window, entire screen 1.
I mean, I could see it over here.
That's
5-second delay. Whoa! Yeah, Inception. There's so many of them.
I forgot we've got about a 5-second delay for once. So, I actually low latency mode worked. Who would know? Okay, so let me switch over here, and
Do you want to talk through it, and I'll be quiet so I don't come through twice?
I'll turn desktop audio on. We can listen to the intro music, which is composed by me. But yeah, I just thought I'd add that in, humble as I am. And I will be doing a couple of other tracks, 2 more tracks, just to fill that out. So we've got our own stuff. So the rest of the music is placeholder. But I'll probably turn that down so you can hear us talk about the game, because we've had a lot of fun playing
some of the placeholder music just to give them an idea of the style, because we've changed the musical style a bit for this. But anyway, yeah.
I muted you too soon. Too kick, but I'll mute Jan. And let's do this button, I think. There we go. So hopefully you can see Godot. Okay, so we've got a menu, options, and actually, off is off. And then we've got other options as well for the music as well. And then let's actually go, let me turn the music down. So it'll be subtle in the background. And then let's bring, oh, in fact, yeah, I think you can talk. Try talking.
I can talk?
You can talk!
Oh, it's a miracle.
Fantastic. So
I'm really proud of this weird little album art cover we've got for 4 possible players. But yeah, this is a local multiplayer game that Mike is going to be playing by himself. So go easy on him. Michael, over to you.
Yes, this will be me playing by myself. So we've got a player 1 and player 2 select.
I'm very proud of you, Polly, by the way. Did you press up on both? Yeah.
Fight! This is surprisingly fun, even by yourself.
Also, note the creepy audience are be quiet. Hello, how's that? Notice the creepy audience following the ball everywhere.
I will turn the master sound off for the moment. It's quite loud for me as well. There we go. So done. Oh no! Did I? Yeah, that was a no. Off the crossbar.
Both you.
Oh.
If the ball goes off the edge, it will teleport back. Right now, there is no final score, so you just keep playing till everyone's sick of it. I gave this to my girlfriend and her 11-year-old daughter, and they fought about it for an hour before they finally decided to call it quits.
Oh, I've mixed up them in my mind. Did you tell?
I am indeed sitting there. I'm like, can you spot which one I am? This is like Where's Waldo, only this with me. We currently have 4 characters. The 2 bunnies have soft body ears. The 2 birds have tails. Although you could easily make more. I mean, it's basically a pill shape with some details I made in Blender. The animation is all done in Godot.
Oh, where's the ball? Where's the ball? Where's the ball? There it is. Oh! No! Sorry, should I be having this much fun with myself?
There's a playing with yourself joke in there somewhere that I'm not going to make.
Yeah, and if it goes out of bounds at all, it resets, which is super helpful considering now we can have it out of bounds.
So it's a very simple little 3D physics game. All the text there is using text mesh, so it's actual 3D stuff. So if you were to move the camera at all, it would still be there. It's not projected onto the canvas. The lights follow the players and the ball until it scores. I don't know how you manage to do that repeatedly.
What, knock it out?
Happily being the ball.
Yes, we thought we'd... Oh, I've mixed up my players again. No, no!
Not designed to be played by one person. One thing we have found, if you have a very cheap non-game keyboard, you will have the N key rollover problem, which means if we play on the prototype computer that I was making this on,
yeah,
both Mikey and I play, if we both press a button, it'll decide who's allowed to move.
Which you can use for your own advantage, can't you? Yeah.
Yes, you can. You could also plug a controller into this to solve that problem, but it's one of those things where too many key presses on one computer, if it's not optimized for that, will be a problem. So it's just something to be aware of as a developer. This will not work well on everyone's computer.
Yes. Are we going to add controller support, or is that just a key mapping, a key binding thing?
Just a key binding thing. I mean, I will add it, but it's just a key binding thing.
Nice. So yes,
that's myself with the agenda.
That is Tuki Kickabout. It's surprisingly fun for such a basic game,
and we've given it a nice little house soundtrack, which I'm quite fond of.
Yes, I've been enjoying taking what Jan has given me. I think they were open game art sounds.
I can't remember where I got them from. I don't think they were open game art, but something like that. They were Creative Commons 0 ones, and Mikey went, "I want to make one." It's like, but these are free. I want to make them.
Yeah, I want to make one. And it's interesting because whenever I'm composing music, I usually am focusing on, strangely, much larger pieces of music. And so they've got a natural ebb and flow to it. But it's quite interesting approaching a piece of music where it's literally a repeat of about a minute's worth of music. How do you make it not sound repetitive, even though it's repetitive?
Well, the character select one could be repetitive because there's only 4 characters. How long are you going to spend?
Well, about 10 minutes, Jan. You know me.
Yeah.
Like, pick a character.
But the main game one, yeah. And yes, I'm now as loud as Michael.
Excellent. Yeah, I think so. He comes through on desktop audio and his audio. I could join them together to get chorus of Jan. Do people want to hear a chorus of Jan?
Jan squared?
No. Yeah. I think we're all good with audio now, which is good. Okay. Good. So yeah, I think there's
so much grey hair. I'm almost 49.
When you get 50, do you like get a message from the king, like half a message?
Dear Watson.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's all it says.
Fantastic. Okay, so the next part is all about me. Me. A couple of things that I want to run through. I hope you guys have been finding the blog useful. I've actually got a couple of posts to make on the blog following discussions Jan and I have had today, and obviously this I'm probably going to chop up this live stream because it'll be actually all together in one lump, and then I can post sort of sub videos, clips against the
shorts,
blog.
aren't you? Those irritating little
no.
Pretend they're on a phone.
I could squeeze us above one another. It'd be good.
So much. Every time I tell YouTube I don't like these, it says, "Okay, we won't show them to you for a few days."
No. The next session. So I don't want to look at shorts on the desktop. I'm happy to look at them on my phone occasionally. Some of them are entertaining, music or whatever. However, I really dislike it. YouTube, if you're listening to these two people that are not massive on your platform, but when I click, don't show me these. I've done it for a reason, especially the umpteenth time.
If I want to watch something on my phone, right, there's a trick I can do where I watch it like that.
Ooh.
Now, I know I'm old, but...
You know when videos used to be square, right?
I do.
Anyway, so yeah, I've been quite happy with the blog, and it's been useful for putting information there. The problem with, of course, Discord is it's great for like information for the last few weeks or something like that. But after that, no one, literally, very few people are going to be scrolling up to see what's happened, and that's fine, right? That's just the way it is. But with the blog, it's much easier to see things. So I've been tagging the blog every time I've made an entry on there. So I hope you found that useful. I know a couple of people have subscribed to it. I didn't even know that was a thing. So well done for finding out something about it that I don't. One of the things that I mentioned on the blog was about a site migration. So I did say that it'll be happening in the next couple of months. And then I thought a bit longer and harder about it and thought, rather than trying to get this done over a long weekend, what we would do instead is actually do more of a graduated launch. So instead of Canopy.games, there'll be like something like new site.canopy.games. I don't know what it'll be at the moment, but that will be a new site that if you're interested in, I don't want to say beta testing because it's not, it'll be the full new site, just not with all the courses there to begin with. I'll need to upload all those. But it's essentially like a beta test, yes, or a beta test, whatever you want to do. So if you're interested in that, do reach out. I was thinking of just including all the lifetime backers, but I didn't want to also just confuse people, because initially you won't be able to buy anything over there or do a lot of interacting. It'll just be purely for watching. So I think the best way of approaching it is, if you want to help us out, test the new site and its performance and things like that, and bug spot. I'm sure I've forgotten something along the way. Bearing in mind it's just us two that are doing anything on stuff like this. So we've decided on the platform itself and the tech to use, and the feedback that I've given myself so far, it's very responsive, very quick to start videos. They come through high res really quickly, up to 1440p, which is really the highest that we need to do anyway, which is super useful.
Quick question from Pakosh, copy pasted from Discord. How long is the Tuki Ball module? It's 2 sections. I actually forget the total running length. Do you happen to have that handy, Mikey?
Tuki Ball?
Spooky Ball, sorry. Spooky Bricks. Tuki Kickabout isn't written yet. I've got the prototype game. I don't know how long the course will be.
I can count in a bit. Oh, I can potentially count now. I'll tell you what. I'll come back to that when we talk about a little bit later. So I'll go find the stuff in Explorer, and then announce that later. So yes, if you're interested, go over to Discord and. Oh, did you mean Kickabout? In which case I don't need to do the thing. So yes, come over to Discord. Give us a shout if you want to actively be enrolled in the sorting out of our new site. Hopefully, I've actually written scripts to upload all of the videos automatically, put them in the right place and everything. So there's quite a bit of background work already been done, but I've not tested that in Anger. I need to make a really nice spreadsheet to do the proper uploading and make sure things.
Testing it in Anger, huh?
That's
so dangerous.
Yeah, I threw stuff at it. For those that are interested in the Blender Foundation course, it's nearly fully edited now, and my aim is to launch it next Friday. Now, the Blender Foundation course, if you're not aware of it, is going to be a beginner's, like a total newbie course, although I've even learned some stuff writing it, so maybe not complete newbies if you want all of the in-depth stuff that's typically glossed over. But it's designed to get you up and going and be an introduction course for all users of Blender and all of the courses. It's basically so I don't have to keep repeating myself at the beginning of every course, because there's a couple of ways in which we can approach things. And I think it's a bit weird, basically, having like the first 15 to 20 lectures in every course being the same, in order to cover that introduction. So the plan is, and I think I mentioned this last time as well, but the plan is that as part of any other Blender course, this will be included. It's just one of those things if you want access to. I'm not sure how I'd do it if the course is over on Udemy. It'd kind of be an email and request. If you've got the course over there rather than on our site, it's much easier to do when it's on our site. But basically, it'll just be included free in all other courses. But it's also going to be a standalone course by itself. So maybe that's an entry. It's going to be super cheap, but like £9 or something. But I think it's about 3 hours long, and it covers everything from what Blender can be used for and all of the basic stuff that you'd need to get up and running for any other Blender course.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yes, Pakosh. Tuki Kickabout, we don't know yet. I imagine it'll be slightly longer than Spooky Bricks. But the prototype is done. The curriculum is being written now, and it's going to be a little hard to figure out how long it'll be. But it's not a particularly complicated game, so I don't expect it'll be a very long module.
It's always a challenge knowing how long a course is going to be.
Yeah.
I mean, I've written intro courses that end up being 8 hours long, and I'm like, how did it get to 8 hours long? But then you realize, I mean, it's not padding, I can tell you that much, but you end up in a position where you start recording something and then you think, well, in my head, in the lecture, that made sense. So you've written down all the syllabus and everything. And then when you're teaching, you're like, well, actually, this would be better split into 2.
Or sometimes you'll be
or 3 or 4
and realize, oh, there's a much easier way of explaining this.
Yeah, and a big. I've done that as well. I've got
course.
5 lectures worth of information here, and instead of making 5 2-minute videos, dum, it can be one, and then it tends to be a bit more holistic because you're not focused on a tiny thing. You've expanded it a little to look at different angles for something. I'm making lots of hand shapes, making shapes,
Throwing shapes in the Temple of Groove.
Aye.
There's a 90s reference.
More, please. So Spooky Bricks is 6 hours long. So I was halfway there, so I thought I'd do it anyway. So it's probably going to be between 6 and 8 hours long, I should imagine.
I imagine so. It might end up being a little bit longer. It's really hard to tell. I mean, it's one of those things that even if you script the whole thing out, once you edit it, the running length changes.
That's one of the things that's a little bit difficult to do at the moment on the current platform. In fact, I know with the new platform, I can type in the total time and it will calculate it all for us, rather than it being something that you have to do at the end, right? And unfortunately, some of the times if you do an update to a video or add some videos to a course, suddenly it goes out of date. But it is interesting. I'd be interested in the comments right now. Do you find it useful if you know the exact length of a course? So if it said like 5 hours, 59 minutes, etc., or is it just the broad? Well, I want to get into this. Is it useful to know like ballpark figures, like 5+ hours long, 6+ hours long, or whatever, so you can plan your learning? Cool. And as people respond to that,
I'm going to blind myself again.
What are you doing? Are you looking at the Google Doc?
Yeah.
I get to see it on delay. I get to see you suffer twice.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. Now, one of the bottlenecks that I often come across is editing. So yes. I thought this would be a great opportunity to say, hello, does anybody want to edit for me? Basically, that's it. But I
misread that sentence from Pagost.
So I've tried a couple of people so far. One just ended up too busy to do stuff, which was, they gave it a go, and then they realized actually it's going to take up more time than I expect. I'm not going to go into super details at this point in time. I'll ask you to just basically reach out if you or know someone, and then we could discuss more details afterwards. But there are a couple of things I thought prudent to say at this point, and just get out of the way. So the first one, I just ended up too busy. The other one was incredibly enthusiastic, and I was super happy working with them. But I suppose the polite way of putting it is that they required lots of hand-holding. And that's a challenge. It's let me expand a little. They had already been told something like 5 times. And at that point, it's like, I can't. I'm doing the editing at that point.
There's personality and style differences going on, but there's also, if someone doesn't have a basic understanding of the thing that we're teaching, it takes twice as long to edit it. Because it's very hard to. I mean, you might spend 10 minutes and then go, "Oh wait, all that was a mistake. I can just skip to the next bit."
Yeah. Anecdotally, I've had both my wife and father-in-law editing the videos. The course videos are pretty straightforward to edit.
Very backoshed.
I'll get to that. I'll finish off the edited stuff first, and then we'll go back to questions. So yeah, both my father-in-law and my wife have edited for me successfully. They didn't know what I was talking about. Father-in-law found it very interesting, that's good to know. And he was learning as he was going. When it comes to a course edit, it tends to be a matter of pick the last right thing that one of us said, and then that's the thing to include. So there are really niche things, like if I say go over to the left-hand side of the screen and I go to the right, some things need re-recording and things like that.
And it's also removing all the pauses that you don't need, but not too many pauses.
Yes,
it feels unnatural, and all the vocal tics. Like, okay.
Or sometimes if I'm getting excited and I'm right up close to the mic, none of you guys want to hear because I do that when the mic's real close, which is something I'm playing with now. So if this sounds okay, it's out of shot, out of the way. It's less likely to pick up me going. I'm
I just heard
exaggerating.
you doing it.
Yeah, well, I don't literally gasp. That would be crazy. So in general, it's not necessarily for YouTube at the moment, but things like cutting up this ready for YouTube would save me a ton of time and things like that. What you'll be doing, I've made a couple of notes here, editing raw footage into polished videos for courses in YouTube, managing video files and keeping everything organized. And one of the things I want to make real clear right now is that we don't have a lot of money in the bank, and therefore this is not a paid position per se. What it is you will get a share of the income from courses. That's the way I want to do it, so we grow together when it comes to that. I've looked at actually hiring someone, full-time professional video editor, and a typical course would cost a lot of money to create. And I'd love to be able to do that. Maybe one day in the future we'll be able to do that. But we definitely
it's something
can't
we
do
would
that at the
like
moment.
to be able to do. Definitely, I mean, we're big believers in treating people fairly.
Yeah, and if you're serious about
or colleagues, like it's
it's almost like partnership, I suppose, in many ways. Certainly, you get a share of the revenue from courses / YouTube if you work on that, and obviously details like that can be discussed between people. Certainly, absolutely fine for naming credits and things like that for every video that you edit to build up your portfolio. I've been in a position myself where I'm behind a closed door and I cannot say what I've done, and so I feel that's ever fair for someone to do a load of work but then not be able to talk about it. So you get real world experience and growing your portfolio. I genuinely don't care how qualified you are.
It's a question from Vertex, which is kind of relevant. How long does it take you to do the editing?
I can get it down, bearing in mind that I know exactly what video I've just recorded. I can get it down to about 1:1. I
can't.
That's at top speed. If I've just recorded the video or videos and then I sit down and I edit them with the AI, I've deployed a few AI helpers to like cut large pauses out, but it doesn't always work. Sometimes it cuts out actual information, which results in more time editing. But the fastest I can possibly edit is 1:1. And
I would say I'm closer to 2 or 3 to 1, depending.
If it's a more challenging video, so our course videos are very straightforward. You don't need to put B-roll in or anything like that.
More like retakes than you do in a single shoot.
I'll just blast through. Yeah, different.
Yeah, I mean, occasionally I'll say, no, I've got to do that one again, or like I didn't like how I explained that, or that came out wrong. Or just
having had
I mean,
editors
if you guys
in the
have
past,
seen the outtakes video from Spooky Bricks, you'll know that. In fact, we still have that.
Yeah, I can put it on later.
There are a lot of mistakes that happen in a course when I record it, and it's not usually coding mistakes. I mean, sometimes it is. Sometimes it's just like
you get your words mixed up,
or you'll say the wrong thing.
My biggest thing, and I've learned to do it over the years, or not to do it, sorry, over the years, is as I'm teaching it. I would like to think I'm in like a class and like, oh, let's explore this avenue. But when you're doing an actual course, that's not a thing to do, because then you deviate from your actual syllabus and it gets messy quite quickly. So
I mean, that's one of the advantages that teaching face-to-face or in a classroom or a one-to-one situation, whatever it is, has over online, is that you can react and you can dive into things that
if something's not clear, someone will ask
something,
and you can actually go in and go, right, okay, I'm not clear on that
or
point.
If a student has an insight that's much more interesting than what you had planned, you can explore that if it's still covering the same topic.
In terms
video editing traditionally is quite time consuming. I know professionals in the movie business usually work on the assumption that an average of 1 minute a video takes an hour.
Yeah, editing a course video won't be that. That's
no,
why
editing a course video is much shorter, because we don't have the same kind of standards. I mean, we're not.
Well, it's not even a standards thing. It's more to the point that it's just a linear take.
It's a linear take. Yeah. If there's a mistake, you're just going to go on to the next bit. You don't have to do much, if any, color correction. Like there's a whole bunch of things we don't have to do. But that said, 1:1 is Mikey being very experienced with a lot of optimization tools and knowing what he's just recorded.
Yeah,
I can occasionally do that, but I would not call that my average.
So as a little bit of a tip to any video editor somehow stumbling in it at this point in time, one of the things that the way that I typically edit is I place an in and an out point and then do a ripple delete. I've actually changed those I and O keys to be a blade tool, a razor tool, sorry, and this is in DaVinci Resolve, that will cut where that is, and then the O will do a ripple delete back from wherever I place the next thing. So I've actually optimized it to that, and that's how I've managed to get to a 1-to-1, because I can literally go through and go
I mean, there are some videos where I can go faster than 1-to-1 if it's a short video and there's no real mistakes in it.
Yeah, if I know I've made a clean
removing
take,
a few pauses and then rendering it might take me a couple of minutes.
Yeah,
but realistically, on a 15-minute video, it might take me 45 minutes, which is not terrible, but it's...
So in terms of editing, really what's important is your computer can handle the files. They'll just be shared by Google Drive, basically. It would help if you had some basic editing skills, but literally if you can press IO and your delete button, you'll be fine. And I wouldn't say it's a super keen eye for detail, but it's more along the lines of, oh yeah, that gap's too long, that needs to be brought in. And you need to have an intuition as to how long those gaps are, because it is important that some pauses are deliberate. There is actually something happening on the screen and I'm just not talking is a great example.
Well, I've also seen people who have tried to edit. I heard this in a podcast once where they got rid of all of the pauses after a sentence. And it was so jarring because there was no way of parsing which thought was which.
Yeah.
It just flowed into it. So, yeah, pauses are important, but it's, as I say, I make a lot more retakes than Mikey does.
Yeah. If I make a big mistake, I just press reset, mainly because I'm editing it myself. And I know that actually editing it will take the same time as potentially re-recording it. So there's a balance to be had there. That's not to say if I get an editor, I'm just going to swamp you with like 30 minutes for a 5-minute video. That's rare. I would typically like just re-record it.
I have had that happen where something that's worked repeatedly suddenly stops working, and I have to figure it out. And after 30 minutes, I'm like, let's just restart this.
This would actually be a potential ideal position for maybe someone younger in your family who wants to get into video editing. I'm not going to share them worldwide at the moment, but if you're interested, DM me over on Discord, and I do have a detailed procedure and systems in place. So it's not that there's plenty of documentation to read and support within that documentation that I built up working with the other 2 editors as well.
And the editing software we use is
free, DaVinci Resolve,
and free. There is a pro version if you need it, but unless you're doing a lot of videos, I wouldn't recommend it. The one advantage you have is faster video rendering at the end, which if you're doing a lot of videos is helpful, but you don't need it.
And if for some reason your computer can edit but not render the videos particularly easily, for whatever reason, then once the project's done, I can review the project and just hit render. That's not an issue my end. But yeah, that's
over into render.
Ba-dum.
Do you remember when we did those Into Blender AI songs?
Yep.
Those were bad.
I remixed one the other day. So that about wraps up that. I don't want to dwell on that too long, but if you know anybody who's interested, or yourself you're interested, DM me over on Discord.
Or someone you don't like who wouldn't be interested, but you want to troll them.
No, that'll waste my time. That's only if you want to troll me.
To make that sacrifice.
So we'll wrap up with what's next and when. So continuing to provide updates. I'm going to continue updating the blog, etc. That's probably going to be like the best place to find like concrete updates, and then posting them over in the announcements channel on Discord as well. And I want to add here, it's tentative. Okay, it's tentative. I'm working with someone at the moment mastering Canopy cars for Godot 4. We've actually had quite a few people reaching out about having it over in Godot 4.
And it won't be me, although it has my full blessing, because I don't have the
bandwidth,
health to do it. Recording one thing is taking up most of my energy. So 2 is not realistic right now. I'd love it if it were again. I miss being highly competent, but right now that's not where I'm at. So yes, someone else is doing that.
And I will know more after Christmas. the plan is in the next week or so, I should be meeting up with them to see how they've gotten on with the project, and then we'll see what happens after that. But I just wanted to put that out there in case anybody happens to be watching 40 minutes into this and wondering. Okay, what have you been playing, Jan?
I've been playing a couple of things. I've been playing Abiotic Factor with a Michael Bridges.
That's me.
And it's very good. It's an early access. It's basically Half-Life, but you're not the super Gordon Freeman scientist. You're the ultra nerdy ones.
Yeah. I was a bit like at the beginning. I loved the look of it. The look really drew me in. Then we started playing, and I was like, and then it got me. I suddenly clicked, and I got into the lore and everything, and I was like, actually, the challenge is good as well. It's not an easy game.
And the way the inventions work and how many things you can make and finding a good place to make a base, it's a lot more survival game than Half-Life was, but it has very Half-Life vibes. And suddenly get to the point where we can make weapons we feel good about, and then the next tier of enemies suddenly appears, and it's lovely pacing, lovely atmosphere. That's a lot of fun. I like the skill system. If we were to play this again, I would choose a completely different set of perks at the beginning, because I enjoy building so much that I should really have just focused on that.
And I should have been the chef right from the beginning.
Mikey's just been cooking. We just moved to a new place in the game. We just went through a couple of portals. I'm not going to spoil anything.
Yeah.
There's lots of science.
Yeah, I've enjoyed the progression, and I felt incredible. It gives you some moments where you feel competent. I think that's the real key thing. I got to a point where we upgraded our weapons, and suddenly it was like, oh, that was the right thing to do. It was getting incredibly. That was
pretty cool.
We were using like
so
much ammo, and then we're like, oh, now it takes 3 shots.
It's the moment when we're playing. It's like, Mikey, I think these weapons set things on fire, Mikey.
But they don't cook things for you like they do in Minecraft. Missed opportunity.
What else? I've also been playing Karate Survivor, which is, Vampire Survivor.
Yep.
Okay. Jackie Chan movies.
I know of them. I think I've watched like 2 ever.
Okay, we need to watch more Jackie Chan. Imagine a 90s aesthetic Jackie Chan themed game with Vampire Survivors kind of mechanics. Doesn't have the same kind of depth as that, but it's a cool little game. I don't know how much more of it I'll be playing, because I've gone through the entire thing at normal difficulty, and now it's like, now go through it in master difficulty. Like, I don't know if I want to do that.
There was
a lot of new moves, and
there was a kung fu game. I can't remember what it was called, but as you die, when you die, I think your character gets older. That's the mechanic. To like have lives, but it's supposed to be relatively realistic in in terms of how you fight.
Yeah, I get older whenever I die too.
Neat. Sifu. Yes, thanks, John.
Sifu. Very nice.
Or seafood. Not seafood. That's my diet. And eat it.
I knew that joke.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't know. I'm very interested in Caves of Cud, which has just hit 1.0, but it looks like the kind of game that is absolutely fascinating, but also the kind of game I'm incredibly bad at. Very complex, highly simulated, procedural, roguelike RPG with, I'm going to get murdered a lot.
Yes, John, you can have a Discord link. I used to have this on a text expander, so just let me type it in.
But yeah, I also played some XCOM 2 last week. And then realized it's a game that you have to play a specific strategy in order to win. So I went through and did that, and it was fine.
I should have probably put an S on the end of that, but it works anyway. Cool.
And Mikey, what have you been playing?
I finally, I think I mentioned that I was on a bit of a Factorio binge. I tend to play games that reflect what I'm currently doing. So I was doing a lot of background programming and automation stuff when it comes to the site and everything. And then I kind of started playing Factorio and Satisfactory, because Satisfactory 1 came out. And I will admit, I've not played as much of that as I thought I was going to. I ended up playing release 1 of Factorio far more. I don't know why I get on with it a bit better. No idea. It
Never
does
played
also
either,
work on my laptop because it's a 2D game, and there's a lot to be said to being able to play the game. And that leads nicely on to... So I've just completed that without... I kind of cheated before. I enabled speed up. I didn't change the values of the game. I just went, make it go faster. But of course, you can automate very quickly if you've just got one thing going over and over and over and over.
Mikey keeps saying he's going to play Half-Life, Alex. I don't know if he's actually played it yet. I don't have a VR set because I have cats, and I'm just going to get mauled.
I'm willing to let Jan borrow the VR headset as long as he records the carnage.
Have you
that
not
ensues.
heard the thing I just said?
Yeah, I heard.
Flailing my arms around like this when I can't see the cats in front of me. That's going to go great. I'm going to lose both hands.
It'll make good video.
You won't be able to.
More like a snuff movie, maybe, but there we go. But one thing I have been experimenting with, so I've been looking at GeForce Now.
Yeah.
I've been trying to use
not sponsored.
Yeah. So my preliminary sort of work machine is my laptop. Mainly because in the UK, electricity is really expensive and my computer is really powerful, which is great until I see the power bill. I mean, one of the things that I realised after doing all the calculations is the laptop with everything else running versus the PC also running but doing nothing. There's at least a 2.5 power difference. So we're talking like 200 watts versus 450 or something along those lines. And that's doing nothing. That's not just the computer, that's the monitors and everything else, which a lot of people forget about. But I think it's important to have a baseline because, yes, you can save half the energy, but you need to work out what things are actually being used on both of them and then subtracting. I'm a geek. I use spreadsheets. That's me. But yeah, so I've been trying out various things, including Crossover and Whiskey, which are 2 wine covers.
Right.
Wine is not an emulator or whatever it's called. And I managed to get Abiotic Factor working, but the keyboard didn't work the other day. So I'm still in that territory of nah. And GeForce Now, very interesting. So I tried it, and I tried the free tier. And the free tier was quite frankly jank and unplayable. I tried Fortnite. I know that it's not a particularly difficult game to run, so I thought I'll try Fortnite. I was jerking, it was laggy, it was horrible. On the Ultimate tier, I genuinely 95% of the time cannot tell the difference between my powerful PC and my laptop. And it's even really responsive. I'm like doing that with the mouse going.
This is something that I would say to you is that because I tried the free tier and then I upgraded because I wanted to play a specific thing and be able to see what I was doing. The free tier is not actually a good example as to why you want to upgrade because it doesn't show you what it's capable of doing.
No. I wish there was just a button because I'd have been maybe a month or two along. Because when I first thought about it, I tried it. I thought, this is crap. This is not a great experience.
I mostly use it for a couple of reasons. One, my computer is getting on now.
Yeah.
And I can't afford to upgrade like graphics card, processor, motherboard. And 2, whereas most games I play on Linux work really well, there are some that just don't, or they do, but the frame rate isn't great. And in those cases, most of the time, I could just go to GeForce Now and stream the game.
Yeah.
It also helps if we want to play something and I don't want to download it for 3 hours.
Yeah, I didn't even consider that as an option, or you just don't have the hard drive space, which I don't on the laptop. So that's,
when I was playing
something else to bear in mind.
Ark Ascended with some friends, it was like, just play it through that. The other day we decided we're going to play Void Crew, and like I'll just run it on here. You can wait for me for half an hour, or just wait a minute and a half, and it'll be fine.
Yeah. I tried some other games. I tried some games that I'm very familiar with. I tried State of Decay 2, and that was very good. There were a couple of weird mouse things occasionally, like I'd move the mouse, and instead of it going in the direction, it would just go, woo, woo, and so the screen was going all over the place, and the monkey sounds are optional. And I didn't realise that Stalker 2 had come out on Game Pass. And I tried it, and it was beautiful on GeForce Now, but it was laggy. And not just laggy as in, when I was talking earlier about with Fortnite, I moved the mouse and the screen responded. I moved the mouse and then the screen responded. that sort of lag. But it wasn't just with that; it was with the movement as well. So I'd like lift up before I got to the corner, and my character would just continue walking around the corner and get killed. And that's the sort of thing I would not tolerate. And so I'm still, but it leads me to an interesting thought, and I don't know what the actual behind the scenes is. And I know Stalker 2 isn't a particularly optimized game, but I know it does run well on the actual PC itself. So there's something else going on. Whether or not it's the machine that you were using is actually rendering those frames as well, and the overhead of running a really graphically intense game is also impacting the latency of rendering that video and shipping it to you.
I mean, maybe. Like, I've played really intensive games that work fine.
Yeah. It could be just that's not optimized.
And in my case, it's usually because internet traffic just suddenly takes over in my area.
Yeah, I did try it multiple times of the day. I'm not being scientific about it as such, but I'm not just going, oh, that was crap and moving on. That's not an optimal experience. Let me go try a different thing. So I've tried 3 games so far, but I've not had too much time for trying it out. But more testing is due. And since I'm actually making my own notes and thoughts about it, would you guys be interested in, like, I know we don't put out that many videos on this channel other than the actual live streams themselves, but just be interested whether that sort of analysis of a game.
Review.
Yeah. my grounded analysis of GeForce Now, or just gaming on a Mac, full stop. But yeah, I know there are dedicated channels for that, but the ones that I've watched tend to be not coming from a place of wanting to play games. They appear, I'm sure this may be my take on it, but they don't feel like gamers wanting to game. They feel like people experimenting and playing with hardware, but not actually playing the games themselves. Does that?
I mean, I'll be honest. I've had times recently where I've been like, I'm really bad at this game, but I kind of wish I was like just chatting to the community while I was doing this. I'm not a streamer, but there have been times when we're like, it actually sounds like a really fun way to spend a Saturday afternoon.
I wasn't thinking about doing a live stream, but I've done it in the past and it's been incredibly enjoyable. But I'm always wary of, well, actually, that is kind of my fun time. Do I want to share that? It might not be. Do I want to share that?
Don't forget, like, I live in this tiny house with these 2 cats, one of whom is sick.
Yeah.
And you live with 5 kids and a wife. Like, downtime for you might not involve more people.
Well, I've done streaming in the past when I've been playing on a Friday evening, and that was we did a lot of Need for Speed Heat, and that was really enjoyable, and that gained quite a bit of traction. I didn't realize until afterwards, and this isn't bragging or anything, I really don't think it was going anywhere, but if you reach like something like 20 concurrent viewers, then you're like in the top 0.1% of all Twitch streamers. Sure. I was like, is that stat real? Because I was, at one point, someone raided me. And that was a good feeling, actually. I like all these random people. But they came from, I looked up the guy who they came from before, and he also does a lot of Need for Speed. But yeah, it was fun.
Here's a great question from Vertex. This is actually a debate Mikey and I have all the time.
Yes.
Mikey, do you want to read this one or shall I?
No, you read it. You read it, and I will.
Sorry for the tangent, but it does bug me a lot.
Great question.
I noticed you use an AI-generated image for today's stream thumbnail. How do you reconcile teaching art and stealing from artists using generative AI?
It's a tough one, isn't it?
I have fallen quite out of love with generative AI over the past year or so. I think it's very cool technology. I think it has no place being used. That said, if you've got 2 people working on a project, one is overworked and one is too sick to do anything, I can completely see why you would take a shortcut. I normally use stock images from FreePic, although they now have generative AI.
That's one of the issues that I have. So before I did the can you create a toucan wearing a bobble hat gaming theme, blah blah, low poly, etc. I would love to take that scene and now model it in Blender.
Sure.
And truth be told, it is a shortcut that I'm not happy that I feel I need to take.
Yeah, Mike, I say we debate this. We talk about it a lot. We're actually pretty much on the same page. And I think this might be a stream topic on its own because we only have 6 minutes left. But
yes, so stealing is okay because you're overworked. That's what it can lead to, right?
I don't think it's okay, but I think it happens.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not somebody who thinks using it in, for instance, coding is acceptable. I don't think it's acceptable in books and all the rest of it. Ordinarily, what would happen is Mikey would say to me, "Can you put the image together?" And I'll spend an hour on free pick. But by the time he got round to me, I'd only just woken up. So he was like, "Okay, I'll make one." Is that okay? No, actually, probably not.
No.
But it's all we were able to do in the time.
It's difficult, and I really appreciate the question because it is something that is a very hot topic. Whether it's literacy, whether in books, whether it's art, whether it's music.
I mean, you and I have this conversation pretty much every week at this point.
Yeah, how do you feel about it? What about this? What about this?
Here's another thing that bugs me about it, or here's an implication I hadn't thought of. And
yes,
yeah, I think that we could easily do a whole stream about two old men rant about LLM generative AI.
And where like if I provided all of the assets and I asked the AI to arrange it, but then it stole other people's layout designs, is that still stealing? Yeah. You know, at what point do you put the line? And I'm not
the way it's trained in order for it to work necessitates theft.
Yes. I do not believe in the excuses that the AI companies come out with. No. It learns like a human does. No, I've done tests because I love this test. I've got two tests.
You're right at point of consent, but for an LLM to work or generative AI to work,
it's done a lot
so
of
much
stealing.
Content. Yeah. You're going to have to work around consent.
I've got two great examples that I'll quickly share. I asked for this was me testing AI and also going out of my way to prove that it cannot be original in many ways. I don't know. Maybe some of the other image generators can. I was using DALL-E 2, 3, whatever they're on now. So I asked specifically, can you create a concept of a car with legs? Now I'm thinking of a car with maybe some mechanical legs underneath. It literally made a car that looked like a Mercedes concept car. Blatantly a Mercedes concept car, a bit like how like in GTA where you're driving around what you know is the car but it's just called something else. So blatantly a Mercedes concept car with mannequin legs underneath. I'm like, and then I described to it in more detail, and I even tried this several times and I could not get an original image out of it. And I've also done the same thing with music. So if I asked you for a rock and roll piece, so you're thinking now of rock and roll, but I want it with the instrumentation of, and then insert other genre. I've not come across any music AI that's even close.
No.
It'll either produce rock and roll music or it'll produce those other instrumentation. And it won't do both.
There's broader implications as well, like the watering down of expertise, which is something that Mike and I have talked about. Like if you're using chat AI instead of lawyers, then at what point do you understand the difference between a good and a bad legal opinion, stuff like that? But that is such a big topic. I think it was something we could actually do as a stream topic because it's something we're very passionate about.
I'd love to.
I am fascinated about the technology. I will occasionally poke at it and see what it can do, but I'm very uneasy with it. And not uneasy with how it works, uneasy with how it's used and how it's trained.
So I'll do one more example of how I actively use AI day to day. I will often write a bullet list of things that I want to cover or do or things like that. And I will give sentiment, etc., and ask it to expand. That's one thing I've done. One thing I do all the time is, having written something full, I get it to check my grammar and spelling. I use it as a glorified autocorrect. And sometimes it's got the sentiment completely wrong. It'll remove a word that
I remember when you were trying an experiment to see, can I give it bullet points and it write my script for me? And you spent so much time tweaking it, it would have been quicker to write the script twice.
Yeah.
And that was the result of the experience. Like, yeah, you can.
That was a while back, and it has improved. But again,
sure.
In a creative sense, I've often gone back and round in circles. And it's like the editing question from earlier. How long does it take you to edit? Well, if I've made a mistake, it might be better to re-record than actually try and edit it correct.
And there's a lot of fascinating stuff out there. Like, I forget the name of the guy who used to be on Computer File, who has a series of videos on AI safety. Philosophy Tube have a really interesting video on ethical AI. There's a lot of interesting issues going on here, and a lot of conversations which are not happening because they're not kind of honest about what it is and how it works.
Yeah.
But it's a fascinating topic.
Yes.
But you're right. We both looked at it and went, okay. And we just like, well, let's go forward.
And am I going to take it? Yeah, Mike's hot takes. I can add that into the section later. Mike's hot takes. This is by no means a justification for yes or no. It's just almost like a reality check in many ways. As you quite rightly asked, now it's not technically stealing at the moment, and I'm being deliberate here because it's not been proven in a court of law to be theft. Until that happens, then yes, morally
we're having a moral conversation, not a legal
yes,
one. But
yeah. So a lot of people will stand by that point, and until it's actually come through, I agree, and it's difficult to work in an environment, in a competitive environment, which we're in, let's face it, to grab eyeballs, etc. It's quite difficult for an individual. And what a lot of people are latching onto, including us with the thumbnail this evening, is, okay, I would love to pay someone a couple of $100 to have done that thumbnail.
or just had the skills and time to do it myself.
Yes, I could have sat down and made that. I think I would estimate that would probably be a day's work, etc. But then it's not worth it for a thumbnail.
By one way or another, but there are ways that this is clearly theft. I mean, the argument is being used. It's on the internet, therefore it's public domain, and that is just not true.
No. But John,
yeah,
that's a great thing. Every artist
but
steals
I think
in one
this
way
is
or another.
A topic for the next live stream because we're
you don't want to dive into it,
and I need to eat and things like that. But you're right. Like there is a debate. There are multiple points of view going on. I think there is a clear-cut problem with the way these things are used and trained.
I was actually waiting for this to crop up at some point.
I think there's a lot of problems with AI safety being sidelined, especially with this massive race to try and get general AI in, while just
or even the danger of just painting non-general AI as general AI and it not being in the background.
There's all kinds of interesting things to talk about, or like game studios thinking this is the answer to coding. Like, no, it's not.
I think it would be really interesting. I don't know if we'll have time to actually do the full prep that I want to do for this type of thing. Is, those debates where one person takes the pro side and one person takes the other side, and you just have a proper
amateur side,
and I think Jan should take the pro AI side.
No. I do have the sense of ethics.
Doesn't mean you can take a side in an argument. Anyway, we could talk. Wax lyrical. Yes, thanks, Vertex. We could wax lyrical about this for, as Jan said, another whole hour or more, because we've definitely covered more than it. Awesome. But yes, I think we should wrap up there.
It's very keen to be part of this conversation.
Yes. No, it's fine, Vertex. I'm genuinely surprised that no one has asked earlier, because AI has been used quite a bit.
Call me a dum-dum. How do I access the G4E bundle again?
If you've already bought it, you'll have access to it. If not, it will be live again in the future.
Soonish.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, everyone. I've had a lot of fun. And I'm going to leave, as promised, with the outtakes, because I still have it loaded. Jan mentioned it earlier. And this is Jan being professional. We'll see you again soon. If we don't see you before Christmas and New Year, have a wonderful holiday and New Year.
And everything else. Have fantastic holidays.
Yeah. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Oops. Hello, you.
Just start to record. Physics Body 2D is a child of Collision Object 2D. Great, so let's just find that, because I need to show you what decision we need to make.
blind. I can't see it, Michael. It's vanished. Help me, Obi-Wan. You're my only hope. There it is, right at the top. Why is that not alphabetical? And I need to set the velocity, which is a built-in property of a character body. You can see it. I don't know where you can see it, actually. When the ball goes off the screen, it's just going to keep going forever. So let's try not to lose it. And it didn't work. Why didn't you work, you poo head? Wibbledy wobbly bibbledy bobbly hibbledy bobbly boo. That's my test.
Mikey had a very big poo.
Yep. Okay, so if this is correct, and I've pressed play, and everything's set up correctly, when we grab the bat... Ooh. It didn't work. Where did you connect to? No, not what I wanted. Misclicking is fun. Local to map. What's this? Hold control, click on it. Returns the map coordinates of the cell containing the given local position. We're only using one layer, we're using layer 0. You can check that by clicking on here. And our tile map is on, where is it? See if we can hit that as well. Press play. And now why didn't you work? Bull spawner, meow meow meow. So back down to check brick type, and I'm going to put a conditional. If and then I'm going to go through puberty again. It was so much fun the first time, I thought I'd do it just before I hit 50. That sounds like a fun thing to do. Serious teaching voice. If. Okay, maybe take a quick coffee sip. There's going to be a one long outtake, Michael. We're not, but... Wait, what does that mean? That makes no sense. What source ID are we using? We only have one source ID, so we'll just do the one. Oh, that doesn't make sense. I mean, it makes sense, but you can't teach it like that. Meow 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 meow. Oh, itchy nose, itchy nose, itchy nose, itchy nose. No, help! My nose is itchy. Yep. But for now, actually, no, that can't be. Go back, go back. No, disconnect. Wrong. Bad. In this video, we are going to go back to this screen and start all that again. Let's make a brand new scene. So how can we get labels to easily show up here? Well, to do that, I'm going to make a new canvas layer. What's a canvas layer? A nude? Nude? No. It's fully clothed. Let's move that one to the outtakes. Godot for everyone, after hours. I should have looked that up, looked that up, looked that up. I should have looked that up, but I'm baboon. I don't think it's working. Double check, double check. Emit signal bat size 1. Oh, I haven't connected it. I'm a professional. There's our multi-ball logo. Very nice. I've just moved the camera. I don't know why I did that. And I'm lost. Help! Help! Mikey, I lost it. Found it again. Everything's fine. And now I'm going to give this a script. So brand new script. No. Oh.